Please make it a habit of looking in your spam folder, because we know, and I know personally, a lot of the emails that come out of Club Runner end up in a spam folder. Because I always send the weekly email. Of course, it comes to me as a club member, and half the time it's in my spam folder, half the time in inbox. There seems to be no rhyme or reason, but some people are saying, well, I'm not getting my weekly invitation. So please do look in your spam folder, and I always send my email out on Wednesday. Marie usually sends it out sometimes as early as the Friday before. So just be mindful of that, please. Cup money, again, we don't have a specific charity. We'll probably get that going again next year, but we're trying to build up the cup fund, so please be generous. We, and I put this in our email, my email yesterday, uncommon times sometimes call for uncommon responses or courses of action. We are considering, and we discussed this at the board meeting last Tuesday, we're trying to get attendance up in the in-person meetings, and we do appreciate the fact it looks like we have about an equal number of people here, plus another group on Zoom of about the same quantity. But there is quite a bit of effort that goes into putting the in-person meetings, and we are an all-volunteer organization, and the brunt of the work tends to fall on a handful of people. And I think until we get the comfort level up where people want to go to public events, the July to September quarter, we're considering, the decision has not been made, but we may go to 2 in-person meetings per month. We will still have weekly meetings, but for instance, I gave the example, the first and third Thursdays would be in person and Zoom, so it'll be a hybrid meeting, but the second and fourth would be Zoom only, like we did for almost a year, it seems like. And then for the 5th Thursday, and we've done this before, we would probably have a social or some service project in lieu of a meeting. So I will welcome feedback on that. I know we've gotten feedback that we do want to continue with weekly meetings, but we may do something a little different and see how things go. I don't know if that would be a permanent deal or it would be just to get us through COVID and have everybody comfortable coming. We do need to get a Zoom team put together because it's all falling on Steve, and Marie's also doing it too. And when we say a Zoom team, we're not saying you have to do everything and you don't have to do what Steve is doing, but supporting Steve and Marie would be helpful. So we're just looking, and if you're tech savvy, that's a plus, but I don't think you necessarily have to be tech savvy, but to sit in and help Steve because he has to admit the Zoomers, he has to make sure all the cameras are working and getting everything set up. It is that time of year for the dues election, and we've mentioned this before, but our deadline is May 15th. Please indicate if you wanted to pay dues only. Now this applies to the July 1, 21 to June 30, 22 Rotary year. But if you want to do dues only and then you pay for the meetings you show up, or you can prepay, there's some simplicity in that, and also it helps the club's coffers a little bit. So appreciate it, but please let us know. If you do not respond, you will just stay in the category you're in right now. Mark your calendars. May 25th, a wine tasting social, and Steve and Sally Knoll are hosting it at their house, and it's a beautiful environment out there, by the way. He's done that before, and it's a lot of fun. Another mark your calendar, I mentioned a couple times, August 28th, that's a Saturday. The district-wide team training, they call it, that's an acronym, and I can't remember all the letters in it. In any event, it's over at the Cider Gallery in Lawrence, lots of fun, just a half-day session. RILA, we have extended the deadline, but we really need to wrap that up. We do have word that we're gonna have at least one student, but we're gonna have to close that out and turn the information into the district. So, and there is money in the budget to cover the tuition costs. So if you know somebody, we need to get the application form submitted ASAP. I think that is it for my announcements. And I'm going to call on actually one of our newest members, Stephen Robinson. He'll introduce our speaker, but I understand it's kind of a tag team deal. So Stephen's going to be doing about, I don't know what the ratio is, but in any event, Stephen, please come up and tell us about the house.
I would like to introduce Breakthrough House, Inc. Board President, Sheen Ward. And Sheena works for the, as a principal analysis for the Kansas Department of, so very, very busy person, not only serving on our board as a volunteer, but also in her career and what she does. So, Sheena, it's been about what, 4 years as president? 5. Okay. Boy, time flies by fast. So just a little bit about our board. We have increased our board at Breakthrough House to 13 members. When I came on a board a few years ago, was at 2. And we've got some really, really good folks from the Topeka community that are involved in that. Also at this time, Roger, where you at back there? There he is. Roger works with our board and me on the Bowles Trust Fund. He and his staff at the Core First Bank just do an excellent job. So I wanted to recognize Roger. Thank you, Roger. And at this time, we're going to talk about Breakthrough House. And I wanted to start off and say, always get a lot of comparisons and ask how we differ from Vallejo and some of the other organizations with mental illness in our community. Vallejo is a great organization. They do a lot of things that we don't do. And Vallejo is looked upon as the medical, clinical, and prescribing medications in that regard. And they also have outreach programs. Our organization is non-clinical. We have 3 major programs that we'll talk about here in a minute. And I think we're ready to begin. If you have anything you'd like to add, Sheena? She said that because my next punchline to get a raise is they identified good leadership and put her in the position. So. Let you go
ahead. Let's see here. Let's pull this up. All right. I'm not sharing. Okay. I thought you we already shared a moment ago.
You did.
Oh, okay. There we go, right there. That one here. There we go. I got it. There we go. Okay.
The IT or the Zoom.
We need help on the Zoom team, he said. Well, thank you so much. I don't want to take any more of your time than is absolutely needed. But I want to start off by saying thank you very much for having us here to talk about Breakthrough House, something very near and dear to both of us, something we're very committed to. Breakthrough House is a nonprofit 501c3 organization situated right here in Topeka, Kansas. And our mission is to empower individuals recovering from mental health disorders here in the Topeka community so that they can have independent and impactful lives. What we decided to do today is to talk a little bit about what mental illness is. and then provide you with a few statistics for added perspective, because we know that there is a wide and varied understanding of what mental illness is. So what mental illness is a medical condition that essentially disrupts every aspect of an individual's life. It disrupts their thinking, their feeling, their moods, their ability to relate with other people, and just their daily functioning. Diabetes, if you want to think of it this way, is a disorder of the pancreas. It sometimes causes you have to go get dialysis, and it interferes with your ability to live and do all the things that you enjoy doing. And mental health conditions are much the same way. There are a wide range of mental illnesses that people do live with and try to recover from on a daily basis. And they range from major depression, schizophrenia, post-traumatic stress disorder, just to name a few. But the good news about mental illness is that recovery is possible. Mental illness can affect anyone. It's not predicated on race, it's not predicated on age, religion, your income level. And it's important to know that mental illness is not the result of any personal weakness, a lack of character, or poor upbringing. And more good news is that it's treatable. Any individual willing to participate in an individual treatment plan can experience relief. And you can find more information about mental illness by visiting NAMIKansas.org. So for a few statistics, in 2018, it was reported that 970 million people suffer from mental health or substance abuse disorder worldwide. That equates to more than one person for every 10 individuals living in the population, with anxiety being the most prevalent. It affects approximately 11.9% of women, 9.3% of men, and are among the leading causes of disability in the United States. The mortality rate for those living with mental illness is higher, significantly higher than the general population, with a loss in life expectancy of over 10 years, which is attributable to nearly 8 million deaths per year. You know, Breakthrough House has an exceptional history. And it all started with a student at the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk. She was working on her master's degree in social work with the idea to pursue a support group for individuals recovering with mental illness. Something outside the traditional clinical setting, as Stephen talked about a moment ago. She partnered with others to initiate weekly meetings in her home, and this grew into an entire network of patients, which ultimately incorporated former patients from the Topeka State Hospital and the Menninger Clinic when they closed back in '97 and 2003. And I'm going to turn it over to Stephen.
Thank you, Sheena. And I wanted to talk about our three major programs. We have a residential program, we have a clubhouse, and we have a payee program. And all three of these play major roles in the Topeka community. What it does is it keeps those that are suffering with mental illness disorders off the street and engaged in the community. If you look at our clubhouse program, it's basically, as we have it here, enriching activities. Individual strengths are emphasized, positive socializations, life skills, job skills. Right now in the clubhouse, we just hired an individual. His whole focus is on employment. This is going out in the Topeka community and meeting with, and I'll take the last one as an example, Hanover Pancake House. Anybody enjoy going there? Yeah, good. we work with the management. We put together a schedule in that, and the clubhouse members in our clubhouse program are involved and engaged and employed. So they're getting paid from handovers, and it's led by staff. The staff have to learn that position. So the staff goes to handovers and learns what the busboy responsibilities are, learn what the employee handovers policies are, and then they train the clubhouse member. So they're there for about 2 days, one in training and one training. It's a very, very worthwhile project. So we're engaged, and the Topeka community is engaged in that effect. So that's something that currently we have 2 right now. We just started this about 6 weeks ago. Our goal for this year is 3, and I think we're going to end up at the end of the fiscal year, December 31st, around 6. So we're real pleased with the results of that. The payee program, it's a financial stabilization support for our payee consumers. It's income management, it's financial independence is what we're teaching and coaching, and it's authorized by the Social Security Administration. So this is how it works. If the Social Security income, let's say, is $700, the first thing we do is make sure rent is paid. Let's say rent is $300, and utilities is the second thing we make sure is paid, and that's $200. Okay. What's ever left over, we divide that by 4 weeks, and that's about how much they have in the month for groceries. And a lot of things plays into this, a lot of things. Let's say it's the fall, cold weather's coming up. They need to buy a $50 at Walmart winter coat. When I say a lot of things play into this, we contact Vallejo. We have a great partnership with the case management team there. And so what we ask is, if we write that check for $50, we want to make sure that it's going to be a new winter coat. Because a lot of times what will happen, they'll take that $50, they'll cash it, and it's spent on drugs, alcohol. So there's a lot of collaboration that goes in here. What that case manager will do, because this is not our role is to make sure that, again, in the payee program, that we're getting the bills paid and what their needs are. So that important collaboration with Vallejo and the case manager is they'll take them to Walmart, make sure, get the receipt, and all of that. And that's just a really brief example of how that works. One thing I will say, and I have a lot of concern, and I've shared this publicly, the stimulus checks. For us, it's a nightmare. For the community, it's a nightmare. Yes, it's supposed to stimulate the economy, but as a government, we need to put something that plays into that, because the Social Security income, we're in total control of. We write the checks and we can say, you don't have enough income. You want $50 this week for groceries, can't do that, but we can give you $35. We have total control. If that $1,400 check dropped into their account, or that check arrives in our office, we have to write a $1,400 check to them. You can only imagine that a person in the payee program, and that's why we're in control to make sure that what usually happens with that $1,400, 3 days later, that same person will come in and say, I'll need $50 for groceries. So you can imagine a lot of things happen. The folks in our program are really good people. We love them dearly. But if they're going from couch to couch to couch, which is basically staying with a friend, staying with a friend, staying with a friend, they know that they have that $1,400 on them. That cash is either gone, stolen, or they get beaten up. That's why a lot of consumers in our program, before they come in our building, we have to ask, and you know, if we can identify, are you carrying a weapon? That's how they protect themselves. 40% of people with mental illness are homeless. That's another staggering figure that we got to, as a community and organizations, really work on, and it's tough to get out. And I'll be honest, I've worked. My dad retired as a command sergeant major at Fort Riley, and I've worked with military folks, and some of them are homeless. Some people just have the desire to be homeless. There's no matter if you have grant money that providing this, or this, it's just a desire they have. And so we don't want to push anybody away, but we do have resources, and we want to get through to make sure that their life is better. Our residential program, sure. The what? Yes. No, next question, please. Go ahead. Right.
You've been assigned as their, they've been deemed unable to handle their own finances. So you pay the bills for them and give them the other money. That's what a pay fee is, right?
Right,
So that's
exactly.
It's not that you're the big bad government telling them, I'm the homeless. I mean, they have things in their life happen that they've been deemed not to be able to get the money. And there are people regardless of income source.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the lawyers, a lot of times that is because they can't handle their money to all be gone, but I'm not help them to. So I just wanted to make that clarification.
Sure.
Not everybody with mental illness needs to pay, and not everybody needs to pay.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that out. Yeah.
Not all of them, you know, take their money and squander it or anything like that. It's just that we do experience that sometimes. So.
Yeah. I bring that up because it is a big concern, and we do collaborate with law enforcement, things like that. So, and there are programs, for instance, yesterday in our payee program, I think it was yesterday, no, it was on Tuesday. We had someone that came in and they've been off their meds for at least several weeks, and it's a nightmare for everybody. So we try to, you know, first of all, calm them down, but when they get to a point where you can't reach them and they're really out there, we have to dial 911. What the law enforcement and I have to make sure is, you know, they're hallucinating, they'll bring a case crisis manager team with them. So it's just not the police officer type thing. But you are right. We have a lot of, like I said earlier, my comments, we have a lot of really good people in our program. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up, one will take that, or has take that $1,400 check. One bought a $1,000 used car because they were needing transportation and working, and another person worked with us and they paid a year's advance into their lease of their apartment. So yeah, thanks for clearing that up, and that is a very good point. So the residential program, we have 32 units, which means 32 people in our program, and we have 15 residential properties. Of those, 2 are group homes. And to be a member of the clubhouse or the residential or payee program, you have to be diagnosed with mental illness. So it's not just someone who's homeless. So the group home has a lot of things. We help them. We encourage them to get involved with programs. Our staff makes sure that at 6 in the evening and at 8 in the morning, they take their medications. Again, we don't prescribe, but we're there to make sure, and they sign in and we sign in, and all of that is taking place. That's part of the role of the residential campaign. Next, and I'll go back to the residential breakthrough clubhouse program. It's a great program, and we have over 188 non-duplicate in 2020. This year, we're at 101, but we're starting to get the membership back up. Once COVID hit, we had to shut our doors. But the important thing is, we didn't just shut our doors. We wanted to make sure we were still helping those. A lot of folks in our program, again, homeless. So we were trying to contact them, get in touch with them, and deliver meals so we could keep our program numbers going. And that was really important, whether it was at an apartment or we met them down the street at a convenience store. We wanted to make sure that that they get fed. We do provide 2 meals a day, breakfast at 8:30 and lunch 11:30 to 12:30. So our doors for Clubhouse is Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4. I should say 8 to 4. And the part of our programs is one I talked about earlier, and that is the employment program, reaching out to businesses in the community and getting our clubhouse members employed and going through that process. Other is we have a nutrition program, which is very important. We all know that the better you do in nutrition and meal planning things, the better you're going to feel, the better your body is going to feel. So that's important in our program, and we teach that every day. Part of the clubhouse philosophy is staff isn't making all the decisions. Like, okay, next week we're working through harvesters. This is what we need to order and drop off. Clubhouse members get to plan what those meals are. We have clubhouse members that will call harvesters and say, here's next week's meal plan with the supervision of staff. So they're learning skills. When we have staff meetings, the doors are open. Clubhouse members are invited in. Our office doors are not locked. We have computers. If they want to go in and use a computer, things like that. We do have one area that's locked in. I had to take a janitorial closet. We put a lock on it so women can keep their cell phones, their purses, things like that, their personal belongings in that regard. We have a wellness program. We just, if you go in, it's a room 10 feet by 12 feet, I think, and it's got weights and machines you can run on there and all kinds of things, jump rope, and Leo is a coordinator of that. We also purchased through one of our grants 8 at the right across the street at the YWCA. We have a swimming program. At least 8 of those memberships are clubhouse members, and we have 2 staff that are involved. So they're involved in the community that way as well, and we partner with the YWCA. So there's all kinds of things. This past year we had what was called, Roger, we're going to get you next year, the CEO tricycle race. Literally, we had teams. It wasn't as big as we wanted it. It was last October. Things were still kind of shut down, but we just wanted to get folks out. It was in our parking lot at the clubhouse. The clubhouse put a team together. They actually won a trophy, and we brought in music, and it was just a fun time to go out and get engaged and meet the community and things like that. So we do a lot of things on a daily basis that engage and keep our consumers, our residents, and our clubhouse members engaged. And so that's very important. One thing I'll also say is when we had to shut all the facilities down, especially in the payee program, Chris can attest to that, we basically had to lock the doors. How are we going to come up with a plan to get those that need that check for $50? Especially those that are homeless. So we did a big campaign marketing to let everybody know our doors are locking on this day. We need an updated address if you have one, and if not, we're going to drop the check amount you want at Lynn Nation, another resource that we use in the community. So if you're homeless, it's not too far from us. It's on 10th Street. They walked and picked it up. Rick has been a manager there, has been a real cooperative and through all of this, and it really helped us. And we had about 60 people that were picking their checks up there. The rest, we were mailing them. So as a staff, we came together and we tried to do the absolute very best. There were some headaches. We were getting about 6 or 7 calls a day shut down. Now we're getting 90 to 100 calls a day. Sometimes it's the same person calling 7 times a day. We still get that now. As my stimulus check in, as my stimulus check 6 times. We had one person call, when was it? Monday, I think. No, Jason, it's not in yet. We'll call you when it comes in. But part of that is anxiety. And so we do a good job, try to do the best job we can, reaching out to them, letting them know if their check is in and things like that. So at this time, we're running out of time, but we're going to open it up to any questions that you all might have about Breakthrough House, our residential program, our payee program, or our clubhouse. Yes. Our total program, that's a really good question. Thank you. Our total program, last year we reached out to 588. So it's busy. Yeah. Yes. Right.
But they still benefit from that interaction and the social things that happen in the job training. How does one go about doing that?
Yeah, they can contact Breakthrough House. To be a person in our program, you can be involved with one or all 3. To be a member, for example, at the clubhouse, that again, we partner with the Vallejo. They have to be diagnosed with mental illness, because we do get a lot of folks that come in and just want to hang out and that. And we're not a clubhouse that really allows to come in and sleep and lounge around. It's a workday order. They're involved with meetings. We have one at 10 and we have one at 2 in the afternoon and things like that. And we have our snack bar at right before 2 at 1:45. It's healthy snacks. So we get them engaged in what kind of snacks do we want. They have bananas. I was in this morning, oranges and bananas, things like that. So it's very, very effective.
You know, they're eating healthy foods because we know that diet does impact overall physical health. And we also require them to work towards not steroid element. So there are sections for, you know, maybe or, you know, meetings or.
Yeah, in the clubhouse, we do have a computer station area, about 12 computers. And the program, the person who's involved with the employee, he is also education coordinator. So we teach them computer skills, how to apply for jobs. We have a thrift store, one inside the clubhouse. One is, it's a real small bathroom size, but it has all dress clothing for men and women. So if they go to interview, we want to make sure that they're dressed appropriately. And the other thrift store on the other side of the clubhouse, it's just general clothing. You know, shirts, polo shirts, shorts, jeans, t-shirts, and things like that. So we also have, for the homeless, the washer and dryer and a shower area, and that's used daily. The folks that are in our program, they don't have places to shower, so they can come in, use our shower, do their laundry, and get 2 meals and be a part of the day-to-day program.
Worldwide suffering from mental illness, and you know, just pointed out that not everybody is going to function in the way that needs support from organizations like Breakthrough House, but the individuals that we serve do. And so that's a distinction. It's kind of hard sometimes when you talk about things, but the reality is that, you know, there aren't enough services and supports and funding for people, especially the individuals that we serve who are diagnosed with severe and persistent mental illness, because SPMI is an acronym that we use to identify the individuals that we actually have to serve. So when you think about what Breakthrough House does, it's not going to be, you know, the cousin or the friend or the person down the street or the neighbor who, you know, functions very well and operating as able to live, and you really can't even tell. Maybe you live more exhausted at night, and you may want to call up something your therapist to get a slight prescription. It's not, you know, the people that we serve are generally poor, very poor. We need a place to live. We have that residential program that provides that people who are there, who we employ, and to go there and make sure that they take their medication and things like that. So you really have to, when you're talking about very programs and services that exist out there, you understand the portion of the population that you're serving and why Breakthrough House is so essential. And organizations like that, like ours, are very important and support, and we value our partnerships deeply. With organizations like yours, I don't know how organizations like ours could even exist or function. And what that would mean for the individuals that we serve, most importantly. So thank you so much for everything that you do and to make organizations like ours possible.
Thank you, Rotary Club. Were there any questions?
Okay. Great information, great program. Thank you very much. It is our practice to present a book to Ross Elementary School, which is The Rock from the Sky. And we asked our presenters to sign to commemorate their presentation. And let me notice one thing, the old stickers until now said Downtown Rotary, and thank you, John Wall, for printing new stickers. I don't have that skill set. So anyway, thanks, John. Our presentation next week, Don Bueller, and the topic is Kansas Riverkeeper. So with that, I don't have any other announcements. Let's stand and do the four-way test and we'll adjourn. of the things we think, say, or do, is that the truth is fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Will it be fun and kind? Thank you, everybody.